My name is Wayne Richard, and I'm running for the Texas House of Representatives in District 66, which is West Plano. The first thing I want to say is I'm very proud to share with you all that I've been Tea Party endorsed. And that means a lot to me, and I'll kind of share a little bit more with you about that in just a moment. But, you know, everyone that's been up here tonight, you've noticed that most people don't read from a script. They're all speaking from their heart. And that's key. Because when you speak with your heart, you're speaking with passion. And each one of the individuals that we've had an opportunity here tonight are true patriots. And we're blessed to have these individuals. We're blessed as candidates to have you all here as well. You know, I sat back there and I listened to a lot of the speeches, and it's easy to get demoralized. It's easy to get depressed when we look at what's happening to our country. Reed is now comparing us to not just racists, because we're not in favor of the health plan, but they're tying us into slave owners. These are our leaders in Washington, D.C. We're the majority of people that they're talking about. But we will take our country back. We will take our country back because we all have passion. Because we have the ability to fall upon the Constitution, the principles of our nation. And we've battled bigger wars than what's ahead of us. But the next few months will be key, because what we do as citizens will determine the future of our country for many generations to come. So I implore each of you to stay active. And it's important for you all to know who I am as a candidate. So let me take a moment or two to tell you about who I am. I am a small business owner. I'm a conservative. I'm a fiscal and social conservative. I became a social conservative at the dining room table as a child, and my parents taught me the values of what liberty and freedom and morals are all about. I became a conservative fiscal individual when I started my company, and I recognized what a government can do to the small businessman. And as many of you know, 98% of the businesses in Texas are small business. So when we have rules and regulations and laws that are placed upon the small businessman that impede our ability to compete, it affects all of us. I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in all the amendments of the Constitution. I'm a Second Amendment proponent. And I also believe in the 10th Amendment as well. And I suspect and I fear that the 10th Amendment is the amendment that we may have to fall back on as citizens and as states to push against the unfunded, unconstitutional, often, mandates that are being forced down our throats here in Texas and across the country. I want you to know, as your representative, I will fight for Texas. I will fight for the sovereignty of our state, and I'll fight for the sovereignty of our country. You need to know that about me as a candidate. But I want to share a story with you, a success story that's tied in to the Tea Party. Because it's important for you all to know that as a group, we can indeed make a difference. We don't get a lot of good coverage in the press. We get hammered upon in the press. But 8 months ago, almost to the day, April 15th, when the first Tea Party action took place, tax day, I had been contacted to help coordinate a Tea Party corner where I live, at Preston and Parker. And to be honest with you, I was fearful. And I was afraid I was going to be embarrassed. Because I got my mother, my 84-year-old mother, who I take care of, and my wife, to stand out on the corner with our signs. And I feared that we would be the only ones out there, standing out there with a sign. We got there early, and lo and behold, a few other individuals came walking up, apprehensive as well, somewhat relieved that there was someone already there. And as time progressed, more and more people came up. And suddenly there were hundreds, and every corner of my intersection was covered. And then we found out later on there were thousands of patriots up and down Preston Road, as far as the eye could see. Individuals just like you. I recognize some of you from that day. And that day, I realized that I was not alone. That when my father talked about the silent majority when I was just a young lad, and I thought he was the silent majority, I realized there really is a silent majority, and here we are. We're called the Tea Party. Now that day was the most patriotic event that I had ever experienced in my life. People stopped traffic as they drove by to show signs of support, to high-five as they drove by, honking their horns, 18-wheelers blowing their blowhorns as they went by. The patriotism, the energy was so strong, the excitement level was so high, you would have thought the Dallas Cowboys had just won the Super Bowl. Now here's the key component. That very day, an individual came to me and asked me if I would run for office. No. Really had no inclination to run for office. I'm just trying to keep my business afloat. The business that I had started 18 years earlier, 19 years earlier, in my dining room, against all odds. I had been blessed, and I built a successful company. But I was seeing what was happening in the world, in our country, in our state, and the economy was tanking. And I was concerned. And all I wanted to do was keep my company above water. But that individual planted the thought in my wife's head. I think a few of you are married out here. But we really gave it a lot of consideration, a lot of discussion, and yes, prayer.